Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. This is episode 85. One of the interesting things is that my name is still Brian Pierce. So for those of you that have never tuned in before, you just learned something. So my name is Brian Pierce. For those of you who've tuned in every single, 84 episodes before this one, which I would say is probably none of you, I'm still Brian Pierce. So it makes it really, really easy for everybody out there, I think. It's not a really hard name. It's kind of like a mutt name, really. Brian, very, very generic. Pierce, there's probably some Saxon, maybe a little bit of English. I don't know, some Irish, probably some raped Scots. I mean, it's really, really a cluster. So you could just kind of take that for what it's worth. But I'm not the important person on this show because I'm just the guy that organizes the fact that we get to have fantastic off-road racers together to talk all kinds of shenanigans, all kinds of race results, and all the stuff that has gone on in the off-road world. So for those of you who have never tuned in before, this is Seat Time. Seat Time is an off-road webcast podcast, one of those little shows that you can watch, you can listen to, and you get to listen to a lot of your favorite off-road racers talk about what's been going on in the world. So if you would like to do that more often, you can tune in on YouTube, or you can tune in on Stitcher, or you can tune in on iTunes. All of those, you can go to that, that little media outlet, and you can search for Seat Time, and you can find our show, and you can subscribe to it. You could just download the latest one, or you could go and say, hey, what's up? These guys have sponsors. They're amazing. Flyracing.com is where you can go check out Fly Racing. Of course, we have Powersport Graphics, so ridepg.com, and Squarespace. Squarespace.com/seattime. Those are fantastic sponsors that we have on the show. Obviously, we'll talk about them a little bit more as it becomes prevalent. Or maybe, Steven, are you just jerking off your beer? Yeah. It's awkward. It's very awkward. So, what's have some kind of fun around here. I hear that. Steven is looking for a good time around these parts, so anybody who wants to come by the Seat Time studio, you just let me know. What he was actually trying to say is the fact that summer is coming up. So, Steven, if you just want to switch over really quick, be like, hey, what's up? What am I fondling over here? Yeah, this is the Seat Time koozie. What's up? Seat Time koozies are available. We had them last summer. They're back for this summer. We sell them in, you could buy them in a pack of 2 or a pack of 5. I don't know if that works as 5 quotes, but it will. And so the cool thing about these koozies is they're Seat Time koozies, pintful of awesome. You take these things to the lakes. The reason why we sell them in packs, nobody keeps one for the entire summer. You have to buy multiples of koozies. I don't think people realize that because you always want to support your favorite brands and all the favorite fun people out there. You want to support Seat Time, please do it. You can go to seattime.bigcartel.com and you can purchase all of our little fun paraphernalia, swag, good times, whatever. And we really appreciate it. Go check us out in the chat room. Tell Thad Duval what's up. Oh, right. Our guest tonight, episode 85, is Thad Duval. Fantastic. Mr. Duval, Thaddeus of the Duvals. How is your evening going, kind sir?
It's going good. I'm on live internet with you guys, so I guess it's pretty cool.
Not the worst time ever on the internet, as I like to say. I think it's kind of fun. So, dude, it's Tuesday, as usual, 8 p.m. in Texas time, which I think is still central. You're on the east, so it's a little bit later. But you did really good this past weekend. We'll get to that. But you did even better the weekend before, and we're still going to get to that. But besides all that kinds of stuff, what is up? What have you done recently besides racing? Do you do anything, or just race?
Just been training, road biking a lot. Just been hanging out with friends, riding. I try to ride as much as I can. It's been awesome, and can't complain. The year's been going great. So whatever I'm doing, I need to keep doing. So it's been working.
I would totally agree. That is absolutely one of the questions I had. Is not just what have you changed, as you've progressed, kind of coming off the Yamaha, going to the Honda in the past couple years, and then of course from last year this year with getting 1 overall win last year, and you got 1 this year, and you got a couple 4 podiums this year, including that overall. So obviously you've had a fantastic year as things have really progressed for you. So. What have you learned the most, I guess, in all of these crazy figuring things out, and how do you keep racing as a professional?
Just I learn every day. It's a learning experience for me, and for me to still be having fun at it is one of the biggest things. And I've learned a lot over last year with the Hondas and stuff, and we're finally getting them really well. And I can't thank the team enough for being behind me, and we've been working really hard to get things situated out. I've learned a lot just in the last couple weeks with the bikes. We've I know a lot of people know that I've switched over to a 250F now, so maybe carry it over in the next couple races with a 250F or maybe a 450. We never know. So it's just kind of a guessing game. I've always almost had to flip a quarter last week to realize what I was going to ride at Indiana. So, I'm just one of those person that, just goes off what he feels like, and whatever makes me have fun is what I'm going to do. So if it's being serious about it and having fun, then yeah, let's do it. If it's not, then I don't need to be doing this no more. And when that day comes, then I don't need to be racing. But I'm still having fun, and I'm still right here where everybody expected me not to be. And that's great when I can prove a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely correct. It's funny, I did not know that you actually rode the 250F again this past week in Indiana. As we kind of mentioned, you did win on the 250F 2 weeks prior in Kentucky, as Jin Kin called it, the Tough Mudder event. That was a crazy, crazy event. So do you think, being from West Virginia, because you're a West Virginia native, if any of that growing up in the wild, maybe wrestling with the pigs or doing anything absolutely batshit crazy, if you will, in the backwoods, got you ready, for a nasty event like that? Or, what really prepped you for just carrying that awesome through?
Just being awesomeness, I guess.
Boom. I like it.
No, I've grown up in West Virginia, and it's always muddy in the spring times and stuff. And, I think that helped me out a bunch. If you ever look back in my career, whenever a mud race is, I ride really strong in the mud. I think that's just because I always grew up riding it. And, if you look at it, all the West Virginia, Ohio kids did really well at that race. And, if you look at the XC2 class, Zach Nolan, he's from West Virginia. He's only about 2 hours from me, and he won the XC2 class. So I think it was just really similar to here, I guess it was, with the mud and the way conditions were and how the dirt was. So I don't know. I think being on the 250 kind of helped a little bit too. So I'm glad I picked the 250F for there.
Okay. Now, I have a question for you, in the sense that I know that a 250 four-stroke is lighter than a 450 four-stroke. There's a difference in the way that they deliver power. There's obviously the torque's completely different on those bikes. But why did you personally say today's the day to take the 250 out in Kentucky? And then again, maybe you said you flipped the quarter, but why then would you then carry that 250 over into Indiana?
Coming into the Tough Mudder, my boss, John Ross, and me got to talking, say, hey, let's, I did really well on the 250F at the National Enduro. So I know I can ride it really well. So we did some work to it and did some top secret stuff,
if you will.
So, and I feel like there's no disadvantage of me riding the 250F compared to Caleb on the 350 or Charlie on the 450, And after Kentucky, a lot of people thought, well, that's okay. He rode the 250F there. Conditions were bad. There wasn't really a fast-paced race. So I know a lot of people talked about how the 250F would have been the right choice there, but would he ride it anymore? And it came down to Indiana where, yeah, I rode it. I wanted to ride it there. And, me and my dad are really, really close. He grew up racing the background on the quads, and, he rode bikes for a long time. So I can talk to him a bunch, and he can give me his input. And what he does is he helps me choose. And if it wasn't for him, then I don't know what bike I would be on right now. And him and John Ross are really close. When you have a team manager like John and my dad that bond really well, everything goes together really well.
Right.
And I think that's what helped us with the 250F, and to choose it riding in Indiana. People were like, oh, there's no way he'll ride it there, because it's kind of like a faster pace race. And so we got to the race. I walked some of the track, and I was a little skeptical about having it there because there was a lot more fields than what there was last year. And after the race, I told myself there was no disadvantage of me having that 250F there. I ran with Caleb and Charlie all day, and I think I proved that the 250F can be ran with 450s, and
Right.
if it wasn't for
a competitive pro bike in the XC1 class.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of my decision to ride it at the Indiana was based off of Andrew DeLong's ride last year there. I think he got second or third overall on a Husky 250F. So I think that's what I kind of went off of, knowing that Andrew's riding skills and what he did last year there, and a lot of it came down to, I think I made the decision like the Wednesday before. So I mean, Dad got the bike ready in 2 days, and then we were off to Indiana with the 250F. So
right,
and it's awesome to have that choice, I guess. I've listened to Stuart Baylor talk about how with the KTM guys, when they sign a contract at the beginning of the year, that's pretty much what they have to ride the rest of the year. So for my team to let me ride whatever I want to ride, that's a cool experience for me, and I'm glad that I'm I guess making the 250F happen in the XC1 class.
Yeah, I think that is fantastic that you're able to make those decisions and kind of go back and forth. But that decision that you made to ride the 250F was a decision that was made days prior to the race. It's not like a Saturday evening kind of decision.
No, when we go to the races, we usually just take one bike, and we have a parts box pretty much to build a bike right there if we need the parts. So it's not like a Saturday night choose okay, I'm riding 250F tomorrow. No, it's like a leading up to the race, and your dad, he's my full-time mechanic, so he has to get the bike ready, and then we go to the race. So for me to even be like, okay, Tuesday night I want to race the 250F, that's still real close to the race. So I mean, it's cool that I got that opportunity and making it happen, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so I want to know a little bit more about you and your backstory. Now, you did a really good job of just bringing up the fact that your father did a lot of racing. If I'm correct, he was actually a big GNCC racer as well, and you have kind of followed in his footsteps. I believe you grew up kind of racing. I don't know if you raced a lot like a Charlie Mullins kind of did, but I'd like you to kind of fill me in. So what's your backstory with the GNCC? Has that been just a lifetime for you of been in this, or when did you kind of get into racing these events?
Yeah, absolutely. GNCC has been my life. My dad, he was professional quad racer for 12 years, and a lot of people don't realize that him and Barry Hawk were like 1 and 2 for a couple of years and on the quad scene. So I've always been around it growing up, and I got a bike when I think I was 2.5 years old. I could ride a motorcycle before I could ride a bicycle without training wheels. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy story. So and then it evolved to I had a pretty big crash on a PW50 when I was 3, and I really never wanted anything to do with a bike. So Mom and Dad, they went and bought me I think a Honda 70 four-wheeler, and I grew up riding it. I would be drag racing it at fairs and everything else, and I think I was 6 when I made the choice. I went to them and it's like, hey, I think I want a dirt bike. And then I just wanted to be kind of different from what Dad's whole scene was growing up. He was on the quad, and I was on the bike. So I guess growing up, I've always been around it. I've won, I think, 5 or 6 mini championships in the GNCCs, and then 200B I won a championship. 250A I think I got 5th. XC2 the first year I got 5th, and then the second year I won the XC2 championship. So it's always been there. I grew up around it. So for me to be going anywhere anytime soon, it ain't gonna happen because this is a family sport. And,
yeah,
we're in it together.
What was it like traveling around that much as a kid? Following the GNCC series. I know we have a couple local Texas kids that are getting to travel around with their dads and make it out to the GNCCs, and I think that's awesome. I'm 33 now. I have a 9-month-old and a 7-year-old daughter and stuff, and I would love to be able to do that. So what was that like growing up for you? Kind of, I guess, traveling this national circuit with your dad and family and stuff.
It was awesome. I never really got to experience the whole traveling thing till I was like 13 or 14. We just kind of, the races were more northern what they are today.
Okay.
Today they're Florida, Georgia, but maybe I was so young back then that I didn't realize that they were down that far. But when I started 13, 14, that's when Dad started taking me to Florida to ride and everything, and that was a cool experience for me, but not so cool experience for my teachers in school. So
yeah.
But for me, growing up around it and being able to travel all over, I mean, the United States is awesome for me. And I got the privilege to go with Dad to the Ball 1000 when he rode it one year on a quad, and I got to go experience the whole thing. And that was a cool experience for me. That's one thing that sticks out of my mind that I take advantage of. And I'm very grateful of what my family has done to help me through the years, and for them to take me all over the United States like that is awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, you got the XC2 championship in 2008. You're now competing in the XC1 class. What's the biggest difference there in between those two classes?
When I won the XC2 championship in 2008, I know a lot of people thought, I was dominant that year. I think I won 7 races out of the 13, and then I moved up. I wrapped the championship up early and moved up to the XC1 class. And, I wasn't going to move up that year, but, we started talking and stuff, and I moved up, and I could never put it together, I guess you should say. And, I really, really struggled just because I don't think people realize how big of a step it is from the XC2 class to the XC1 class. It's like a whole nother level that I think the XC2 guys don't experience yet. Right. I mean, it's like the XC2, them guys are full bore, young. I was young and dumb like that one day. I could get away with doing that. But like in the XC1 class, it's like a whole nother racing scene. It's like if you ain't at the top of your game, then you ain't going to be up front. And I had to learn that the hard way. I struggled for a couple of years just because, a lot of people didn't think I really took it serious, and maybe they're right. I never took it serious the first couple of years, and I think that was really a wake up call, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, when Mom and Dad came to me and was like, yeah, if you don't take this serious, then you're not going to make it any farther than what you are. And I think that was a big reality shock, and I guess I took that into heart, and then I started turning it around. And I was blessed with the opportunity with John Ross at Shenandoah Honda when he and Eric Nykamp from Off-Road Championship came together last year and said, hey, we're going to give you another chance. I mean, if you give us 110%, we'll give you 110%. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be, because at the end of 2011, I had nothing. Like I know nothing, and I'm very grateful for them two guys to get me to where I'm at today. I look in the beginning of 2012 to where I'm at now. I would have never seen I'll be where I'm at. I'm the full factory backed, I guess, Honda rider through Shenandoah Honda. So it's a cool opportunity, and I'm glad that I'm making things happen on the Hondas. So I guess it's a cool opportunity. So. Oh
no, I think it's absolutely a very, very cool opportunity. It's interesting what you mentioned about how the XC2 class is such a different animal from the XC1 class, because I do look at you, who came as a 2008 champion. We had Caleb Russell, who came through as a champion after that, and then we had Jordan Ashburn, who came through as a champion after that in the XC2 class. And I can't say that all of you guys haven't struggled or have struggled in the XC1 class, but Caleb Russell has issues, or has had some issues with kind of finding that pace. You had a couple issues with finding that pace. Jordan Ashburn seems to be having some troubles finding that pace. Then there's guys like Nate Canny who say that there shouldn't be an XC2 class, and that it should all be. I would not be in either one of those classes. I would absolutely be in the 2-hour class. So believe me, my opinion on it, honestly, at this point is irrelevant what I think, honestly. But so from you, who have been an XC2 champion and now you're an XC1 racer, where do you stand on that? I mean, do you – I mean, you obviously would imagine that there's totally a need for those two different classes.
Well, if you look at the XC2 class now, I mean, like the top 10 guys can be top 10 XC1 riders.
Okay. All right.
Andrew DeLong, he's like top 10 overall, and usually the top 5 in XC2 is top 10 overall. So I think there could be just one class, and I think that would be some epic racing, because you would have the guys like Grant Baylor on the 252 stroke, and you'd have all these bikes in one class because like people would be like me to be riding the 250F, and then you have the 2 strokes and the 450. So if there's a need for 2 classes, no. But if it was together, it would be chaos because it would just be carnage everywhere. Because the XC2 guys, they're just wide open. Because I mean, I've been there, so like I know how it is. And when you're in the XC2 class and the green flag drops, you're like, you want to catch the XC1 guys to prove that you are better than them. And then that's what I grew up in the XC2 class doing. Was like, okay, if I would catch this guy this race, I wanted to catch the guy who finished in front of him the next race. So I guess if there was one class, it would be kind of cool, but I'd just rather it be XC1 and XC2 guys because a lot of guys in the XC2 class are young. I mean, look at Grant Baylor.
16. 16. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'm throwing this out here that he did beat Stu's record because
yes, he did.
He just turned 16, so I'm throwing it out there to you, Stu. So.
Yep, it's funny because when we talked to Grant, Stephen, what was that, about 2 episodes ago, or was that the past? That was 2 episodes prior, episode 82. Raised brake pedal because of the fact that we asked a big thing. It's like, so what's different between you guys? All this kinds of stuff, and we talked about that whole brotherly love and everything they've got going on. And he's like, it's kind of like the James Stewart thing. He's like, my brother's done some great stuff, but I'm just as great, if not more great, and I want to make my own name. And man, by going out, and I told him, I was like, dude, you beat your brother's record already at 16. I was like, you are on that path to doing exactly what you told us you wanted to do, and really putting out that I'm Grant Baylor, not Stuart Baylor's brother.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. It's fantastic. So in that XC2 class that's going on right now, we got Grant Baylor, who just got the win in Indiana, Jason Thomas there in second, and Jedediah Haynes in third. But and Andrew DeLong, having a poor race, the points kind of changed. So Jason Thomas is now in the lead. So even though we have 3 races before we get to like the GNCC summer break, how does this mentally work for Jason Thomas, or mentally not work for Andrew DeLong, or for Grant Baylor, kind of going into these next 3 races since you've been there?
For me being there and me knowing Andrew really well, I feel like this is just fuel for him, like
blood in the water.
Yeah, exactly. For him to lose a points lead like that with 2 bad races, I feel like he's just going to come out and be blazing fast and, maybe possibly sweep the next 3 races. And, he'll ride really good at snowshoe because he's bigger and bulkier and he can muscle and bulldog the bike around. So,
right.
I feel like he could be a contender for the overall at Mountaineer and snowshoe. So I feel like them 2 races, he'll definitely be tough to beat. But for Grant and Jason, I guess, man, it'd be tough for them guys. And, Jason, he won the championship last year and he hardly had any wins. If he did any, I'm not sure how many he had, but, he was second or third. And it doesn't take wins to win a championship. You can win championships on your worst day. That's what people say.
Absolutely.
So I feel like Andrew's going to be really tough. I would say him and Thomas are veterans of the class, kind of. So they got the experience, and Andrew knows what he needs to do. So I feel like Andrew can pull it out.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. When we talked to him again a couple episodes back, and he's such a quiet, awesome dude to talk to. So reserved, yet you could tell at the whole time everything's thinking back there. Like he's a good old country boy but that's always thinking. Like it's funny, but at the same time, like the blood is in the water. He said it on multiple interviews. He's just like, man, I was there and I was ready to take it. Like,
yeah.
So I completely agree with what you're saying, especially about snowshoe. I've never raced a motorcycle there, but I've raced a couple mountain bike national races there, and that is a fantastic place. I would love to be on a throttle twisted machine at one of those places. I like that kind of like more technical riding. Now I don't know about racing, but I would love to just go out there and ride. But we'll see. So it's probably not going to happen for me though.
Yeah, that's kind of like be like my backyard kind of. I mean, my house isn't really like that, but
right. So we're gonna go visit your house too. That's cool. All right.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So
thanks for the invite. We'll show up tomorrow.
All right, that's sweet. So, but like snowshoe, it's a physically demanding race, and I think the strongest of the strong will will succeed there. You know, it's a tough race, and you know, for me, I don't know if a lot of people in the XC2 class in 2008, I lost by 2 seconds to David Knight there, and I like a lot of people. There's still a lot of people talk about it because my transponder wasn't working at that race, and a lot of people with watches on said I had to come within 30 seconds, and a lot of people said I came across like 25, 26 seconds, but by the time they typed it in to the computer, I lost by 2 seconds. So I think I could have won a 250 overall a while ago, but kind of got robbed from it, I guess, a little bit. But for me to do it at Kentucky is just a sweet thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it's your backyard. You're good at mud races. I think it's fantastic. So keep doing what you're doing. Before we kind of go on to some of the other news that's happened in some of the XC or some of the off-road world, if you will, talk about a little bit of the Husqvarna and the Husaberg crap that's been going on throughout the world. And some of the other race results and stuff. I have to say thank you very much to one of our sponsors, to Fly Racing, of course. So Fly Racing, if you guys didn't notice at the very, very beginning, they're our title sponsor. They are a huge, huge supporter of Seat Time. They found us when we were about 6 or 7 episodes in. We were just 2 dudes drinking on a couch, having fun, talking about motor results. Now, we haven't really changed much. We're just not on the same couch. We're still drinking. We're still talking about motor results. But we're a little bit more sophisticated, and that's, of course, thanks to Fly Racing. And I think you could say the same thing about a lot of the off-road series that are out there. Fly Racing has completely put themselves in the off-road market. They have supported tons and tons of series out there, supported tons of riders out there. They're doing a lot to make sure that everybody is having the best time that they can and riding in the best gear that they can. So what I should say and ask of you is please go check out flyracing.com. They've got their new kinetic gear for those of you that like to ride in the summer and it's hot and you want some mesh so your pits can sweat. Maybe your lower than your pits area can sweat a little bit and get some coolage. Go check it out. Flyracing.com, kinetic mesh. It's the hot stuff. Maybe the cool stuff. I don't know. Steven, what do you think? So he would say it's the cool stuff. Yes. All right. Well, Steven's lively tonight, folks. You got to watch out for this guy. He'll bite your head off if you try to take away his words. All right. So, Thad Duvall, have you had any access to thoughts on the whole Husaberg and Husqvarna, or Husqvarna, if you will, if you happen to be in Europe? This whole I don't know, merger, acquisition, togetherness stuff.
Were they merged at one time?
Yes, 25 years ago, I believe what they were talking about is that it was when their roots were split, and so now they're back together again. And it's going to be Husaberg and Husqvarna brought together, and they will be under the Husqvarna banner. They will no longer. So I want to say that means that the Husaberg name will just not exist. That's the way that the press releases make it sound. So, they're saying they're going to be under the Husqvarna name, and all the new models will be out this October. They have all new Husqvarna models ready to go. So,
wonder what they're going to look like.
I know, and that's what's funny is we've had so many, like I've seen on Enduro 21, all the fun Photoshops and everything like that people have done. I myself made a fun little logo to put out there. I thought that was quite clever. Nobody else, but whatever. I mean, I had fun making it, so it's okay. But I think it's going to be interesting. We talked about this at the end of the year when we had the wrap-up when Pierre Industries, the gentleman that is the president or the CEO of KTM, his own company bought, Husqvarna from BMW. And so Husaberg has a lot of technology. You could talk to like a Nick Farringer, and he loves the suspension, the way that they put this. But he doesn't just love the suspension and the geometry of the bike, even though they are essentially KTM. There's just some differences. He loves the porting in the engine. He says that they ride so much different. It's like his 300 Husaberg rides so much different than a 300 KTM. Never ridden one, so I can't say anything. But maybe there is some kind of technology there that they can bring over to the Husqvarnas and, make some awesomeness. I mean, we've seen all kinds of crazy shit come out of, Husky and BMW with the crazy, not really backwards, but kind of weird bike with the gas tank.
Yeah.
You know, you
That
can
was weird.
gas it up from the ass end, if you will. Like, it's like, what are you doing? I'm just sticking it in the tail. Oh, shit. That's not the gas tank. You know, it's like, whoops. So, I don't know.
That's a weird situation.
They're two boutique brands that are coming together to maybe make a bigger, less boutique brand. I don't know.
I don't know.
I want to see it.
Russell Bobbitt rides them good, so
He rides the shit out of that Husaberg.
I know. He rides it good, too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think a big thing, we talked to him a little bit, and he was saying that he was really excited to be on the Husaberg because it was the PDS. You know, they still have the kind of the 2010 frame. Even though they brought in the way that the subframe mounts, they changed the top shock mount, so it's a little bit steeper angle, but it still has the PDS, and he loves it. He likes the higher rate that it has in the way that it actually makes the bike kind of have a little bit higher ride feel, so he doesn't have to feel so chop it out all the time. But we don't have to keep talking about that. I think it's interesting. I would love to hear everybody's opinions. The thing is you can find us all over the place. I'm just going to throw it out really quick. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/SeatTime. We're on Twitter, it's SeatTime_CEO, and we're on Instagram, it's SeatTime. So all of those little channels right there, we would love to get your opinion on that kind of stuff. If you want to take pictures of what you think the bikes are going to look like, or maybe if you want to talk about what you think they're going to do, hit us up, and we'll discuss. So Mullins got the win this past weekend. Russell got second. Obviously, Thad Duval with his pig got third. That race, it sounded really, really fun. It sounded like you had a fantastic ride on your 250F. You got into second behind Russell. Mullins came by kind of close at the end, got by both of you guys. He came away with the win. Russell got second. You got third. So was he just like blazing? Like, how was that? Like, tell us what it's like to get passed by Charlie Mullins.
I don't know. Like, he just turned it up another gear and took off, and I couldn't compete with that speed. You know, I think we got the 2-lap board, and then halfway through that lap, Caleb took a pretty good spill, and he was in front of us. So he was rolling around on the ground. I thought he was really hurt, so I stopped. And I was like, "Hey, you okay?" And he said, "Yeah." And I took off, and we came around. I got the pit where I think Charlie was like 15 seconds ahead. I'm like, "Holy cow!" Like, he really took off. So
WFO.
And then So I put on a charge because there was like 4 miles in between the pits and the finish line, and I put on a really hard charge to see if I can make up anything. And I came to the finish, and I was like 28 seconds down. I'm like, man, I just lost time. And I was riding hard. So I guess then I was like, okay, it's the last lap. I'm on the podium. I guess I'd be happy with it. And, when I really want to win, but, I've crashed out of a few races trying to push the limits. So I guess it was okay. And, Caleb ended up catching me the last lap, and we were pretty evenly matched. He was a little bit quicker than me, and he got around me, and we rode the last lap together, and just couldn't make the pass back. And then, I had a line come into the finish like a mile before, and just made a mistake with a lapper and let him get away, and, he ended up beating me. But I guess to be on the podium with them guys and be competing with them, I mean, them guys have the best of everything, and we're trying to do it on a budget. It's tough, but my boss John, he makes it happen. Whatever I need, he's willing to open his pockets to get me, and that's what's got me this far. So
right,
it's awesome for me to be up there with them guys, and any day that I'm on the podium is a good day.
Fantastic. You said that very well, sir, and we appreciate it. Fantastic. Okay. Josh Strang mentioned in his little race report about how his bike setup was really off. Now, you obviously wound up third place on the podium. So was there anything, and obviously we already figured out you were riding a 250F. Now, was there anything different bike setup-wise that you might have done to prepare for this race that helped you in a different perspective, obviously, than it did not help, someone like Josh Strang?
I don't know. I don't want to sound like too, but I make my bike work. If it's not working, I guess that's kind of weird to say. Like, I don't know, but if it's not working, then I know what I need to change my riding style to make it work. So I guess I mean, he probably is struggling a little bit because he's been on Suzuki's for so long, and then went to KTM, and then now he's back on Cowie. So he's probably was in the same boat as I was at the beginning of last year, trying to find a good setting. But we've got that setting now, and I guess there's no really difference between my 450 and my 250F setup. I guess I haven't really made a change. I guess for Florida, I was a little bit stiffer just because of the sand, but in Georgia, I ran the same setup as I did in Florida. So I guess I never really made a change, in my 250F is, I guess, done right.
Right.
I've been with Factory Connection for, I think since I've been 11 years old, and they've been really good to me. But just some things had to change, and I went with Works Enduro rider this year, WER. He's out of PA, Drew Smith. He's been around the game for a long time. He worked with Barry Hawk on the bikes in like 2000s, the early 2000s. So he knows what to expect, and he's been really cool to me. And we got the setup on both bikes where I needed to be, and it didn't take long. And it's awesome for a guy like that to already know what I need, and it worked out good, and now the stuff's working great. So as you can tell, I'm finishing on the podium, and I think I already have more podiums this year than last year and the year before. So
Yep.
Everything's working good.
Heck yeah, you're moving in the right direction. So with that as a good leeway, we're coming up with John Pinton the first weekend of June. What do you work on? Or what do you try to figure out?
What bike I want to ride?
Yeah. Well, okay. So you figure out what bike you want to ride. I mean, like after that, though. I mean, is it just you just show up and do what you've been doing, or is there something else to work on? Or I mean, all that kinds of fun stuff.
The John Pinton's in Millfield, Ohio, which
Right.
is only like 45 minutes, an hour from my house, and it's really similar dirt. So, leading up to the race, just ride, and
Yep.
and figure
Okay.
everything out. And the John Pinton last year, it was a brutal race. It was like 100 degrees. So this year, I think it might be a little bit different because it's earlier in the season, but definitely hydrate. And I wouldn't really say I do anything different from race to race, knowing that this race is closer, but just the same routine every week. I try to ride as much as I can and try to road bike as much as I can. And, it's cool because I have a couple good friends that come and ride with me. Like I'm at Lane Michael's house now in Fairmont, West Virginia, and he's been coming down, I think, before every race, the last couple races, and we've been riding together. And it's cool to have friends like that, to always push each other. And I think that works out for me to get seat time with other people. So I don't really want to say I do anything different. Just go there with the attitude that I want to win, and I want to win bad. And, I've got one underneath my belt, and I know the taste of a win tastes good. So I want that feeling again.
Heck yeah. Well, we hope you get it, man. No, I really am rooting for you. We've met and talked a couple times at the ISDE, then of course at a couple GNCCs and stuff like that. Always a cool dude. You got a great attitude. I think that we always mix well together because of the fact that honestly we're pretty much the biggest jokers out there. And if we're not,
right.
we try to be. So you got to keep a smile on your face, and you got to keep having fun. I completely agree with all your sentiments on that for sure. So we got 3 races left before summer break. I'm hoping that everything goes the way that you want it to. I would definitely want to see you keep riding. One of the things I did miss this past weekend was the webcasts. I've really, really been enjoying what the GNCC guys have done, or Racer Productions, with that. It is awesome being able to, sometimes I can't watch it live, but I can listen. So I'm working on whatever, and it can bring it up on my phone. And I can listen to it, so it works just the same as any other kind of podcast or anything like that. And it's fantastic, Then I'll go sit down, and so being able to just literally, Jen Kenyon walked up to you and talked to you right after your win in Kentucky. I mean, it was fantastic because she got you muddy, got you sweaty. You were just there. It was dirty. It was nice. So I mean, what have you thought about that? Have you heard any feedback about how the webcast has gone?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I have a lot of family that's into my racing, so a lot of them don't get to travel like we do, so they get to catch it on Sundays, and that's cool. And it's a really big hit, I think. And a lot of people were kind of upset that it wasn't live in Indiana, because if it would have been live, it probably would have been one of the best races of the year, because we really put on a show for the people. And I think that race should have, could have, would have been cool to be live. But we're no national motocrossers, if you know what I mean. But
Yep.
so, well, at least say we don't make the money like they do. So.
I'll go ahead and say it because as everybody said, we're kind of a wide open show. We did offer up our services to Racer Productions to do their webcast for them, since they were going to have essentially their entire staff out on the West Coast at Hangtown, and we were turned down. It happens, yeah. Hey, that's it happens. But I just want to say that we were more than willing to get out there a day or two early, figure it out, make it happen, because I think it's great. I, as a fan, love it. I, as a part of the industry, love it. As a rider, love it. Like all that stuff. So for me, and I know for Steven as well, it was about pushing ourselves and the knowledge that we have, and it was about keeping going something that we think is awesome and is going to push the sport that we love. So it was nothing more than that for us. But hopefully we can all figure out something and we can keep going. So I want to know, did you get a chance to watch any of the X Games this past weekend?
No, I did not.
But I don't know if you had a DVR, you set it and watched.
Well, I did watch the final of the X Games, men's endurocross and women's. So
yeah. And Mike Brown won.
Dude, that guy is an animal.
Dude, he's like 41 years old. He has hair on his body that is older than I am. That's ridiculous.
Well, like, I seen him in full action at the 6 days. So, I mean, that guy, that is like an idol to me. Like, that guy is something else. That is awesome.
He's old enough to be your dad. Like,
he really is, though. For
straight
real.
up. Like, and he could kick your ass. And then, like, have another kid and then kick your ass again. I mean, he's on it. It's ridiculous.
Dude, that's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I kind of tried to talk to some different people about the course that was out there. I don't really know that I totally enjoyed the course overall. The technical bits that they built, I thought were good, but I thought they were too spread out. And I don't know I have no idea if the X Games Enduro X people are in league with the Enduro Cross series people.
There's no way.
It feels a little different, but at the same time, X Games is big enough to maybe try some things and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought the course was sick. Like, I would have enjoyed it.
Oh, I would have loved riding it, but I thought, like, racing, I just, like, it felt a little too open. Like,
yeah. It was pretty fast. I mean, it was kind of like a fast enduro motocross kind of deal thing. So.
It looked like it was like wide open straightaway, shut it down for a turn, technical obstacle, wide open straightaway, shut it down for a turn, technical you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree.
And and having raced a couple enduro crosses, I'll throw it out there like I do almost every other episode. I just when we were going to Gilmer, Oklahoma. No, not Gilmer. It was somewhere in Oklahoma. It was like Lazy E Arena. It was awesome, but it was super technical. It was like all 180-degree turns, like, and it was like obstacle, turn, obstacle. It was just like nasty as shit. And so maybe I just mentally kind of have that picture in my head that's what I expect. So that's all right. X Games obviously blowing this shit up. Enduro X, as they like to call it, Enduro Cross as we know it, is getting much bigger. Mike Brown got first place. It was just ridiculous. Of course, then we had Colton Hager, who almost got the pass for the win at the very end there when Mike Brown got stuck in those rocks, and then Cody Webb coming in third place. Dude, it was great.
Did you see the GoPro that was uploaded of Destry Abbott today?
I saw a picture. I saw the picture.
Yeah.
Did you see the whole video?
No, like I've seen a picture of like him looking up at the bike.
Yeah, that looked like shit.
Man, that's bad.
Yes, it is. Well, what sucks is so they were talking about Destry Abbott not making the heats because of the fact that he had that bad wreck in qualifications or his hot lap or whatever, and so in that last lap, Taddy Blazusiak, biffs it on that and they're like, oh my gosh, that's what Destry Abbott did, and that's when I was like, oh, that had to hurt. And then you see that picture, and you're like, oh.
That was bad. Like,
You
that,
know
like,
it was
made me
nasty.
as a rider be like, oh man,
Yeah.
like that bad.
When you're looking at your bike like that, I mean, granted, obviously, when you're riding, it happens so much faster, but still, like, those split seconds when you see your bike, 3 feet above your head, you're like, this is going to suck.
Yeah, that's a bad ordeal right there.
Yes. So the women, now, obviously, I don't take anything away from this, but because I know the fact that Maria Forsberg would kick my ass on a dirt bike, and that's fine. I'd be happy to be behind her on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
either in her little monkey cage or whatnot, her side cart. But Liana Sanz, I want to say, the lady who won. I'm sorry, but she was dominant. Like
She was going through obstacles probably better than I would go through them.
Yeah, you could see her trials background. I mean, you could like feel it through the TV.
She was like doing the foot plant turn and everything. Like, that's a bad girl right there.
And obviously they did a fantastic backstory on her. If you kind of watch, I watched, I'd say 90% of the coverage this past weekend on the X Games, and they did a couple backstories on her, and it was really cool to see. She's been riding, kind of like you were saying, like since like 5 or 6, if not younger. But she has a much bigger trials background, and you could see it. I mean, you could you could tell, like right off the bat, like how different the other ladies' riding styles were compared to hers. So it's, man, I don't know how, like say like so. She got first. Maria Forsberg was second, and Sandra Gomez, who was also from Spain, got third. Casey Martinez, fantastic job. She got the whole shot, was doing really, really good in the earlier parts of the event. But I don't know how they step it up. I mean, obviously they're doing great where they're at, but I mean, if they really want to try to take on Liana.
Yeah, like nothing against the other girls, but they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's crazy what they need to do. So, I don't know. We'll see. So, did you get to watch? They just posted it a couple minutes ago. The new J-Day off-road edit from this past weekend. Oh,
but I've watched the J-Day edits before, and they are sick.
Okay, well, this time they did like the J-Day ripples, because if you have a Boston Mass, or
ripples.
I can't ripples. Yeah, I can't even fake that accent. I'm totally from Texas now. It's horrible. That is sick because they did like a thug edit, if you will. Like, I mean, there is some footage of those dudes riding those 125s. I mean, just WFO, like hitting, and it's raining on that bitchin' northeastern terrain, and they're just it's dirty good. You will feel like an animal when you watch that video. It is fantastic.
Yeah, whoever does the edits does a pretty good job.
It's Ben Gustaf. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's like Benny Productions or something.
Yeah, it's like I want to say Ben Gustafsson, but I really feel that that's not northeastern enough.
Butchering it up.
Yeah,
man.
totally just did not give him the respect he deserves. But he's been killing it. It's been fantastic. I've loved watching that stuff. So Johnny G, fantastic job getting first place. He went 1-1 in the two moto format that they do there. Kyle Hangos, again, probably butchering a name, 2-2 on those, and then Joss Sanamo. I apologize because I'm probably screwing all this up, but he went 5-3 for third overall on the weekend at the J-Day. So obviously, good job for those guys. I mean, I want to go to one of those so bad. I want to know what he could do in Texas. Like, do you think he could just bring moisture with him?
I don't know. I mean,
because that would be fantastic.
There's no comparison to Northeast terrain, like dirt-wise. I mean, my house is epic pretty much all year round, so there's no other dirt like it.
I don't know.
Maybe you can just bring like thousands of truckloads of dirt across America for you.
I mean, I think I'm worth it. Probably not. I unfortunately have to apologize for my cider-filled egotism, and we will talk about other things. So, Steven, anything from Mr. Burson?
He will be out.
No?
We'll have to get him another time.
That's fine. That's okay. Just to give a heads up, we were trying to talk to Nick Burson. He got third place this past weekend, been on the podium a couple times. Some of the National Hare and Hounds that have been going on. Fantastic job. We wanted to talk to him a little bit. But unfortunately, he's in California. As people have talked about, he definitely lives the privateer lifestyle. That guy works 10 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, makes it out to those National Hare and Hounds, races, drives his ass back, does it all over again up at 6 a.m. So we will love to have him on soon. And that's a good lead way. 1, we're going to talk about one of our sponsors. 2, we're going to start talking about a little bit of Hare and Hound, some of the results that went on, and then what's going to be coming up. So one of our fantastic sponsors of Seat Time is Squarespace. So squarespace.com/Seat Time is where you can go to find out more about these guys. But what you're going to find out is that they are going to help you build the most exceptional website that you can. And why I say that is because of the fact that a lot of people struggle. Oh, where do I host my website? How do I design my website? Where do I put my website? What do I put on my website? Well, the thing that you don't ever have to worry about is any of that except what you put on your website. Because the thing is, you go there, you go sign up. Oh, I'm now a member of Squarespace. And you do it for free, which is fantastic. So you go in there, you're like, I want to sign up. Oh, I get a free little thing to try out. What's going to happen is you get to pick out from all these responsive themes, which are beautifully, beautifully designed, and you get an exceptional website that looks professional. It's going to help you get more sponsors and make you look more awesome. You will get calls from the ladies. It's going to be fantastic. So, and us at Seat Time, because of the fact that we're just as cool as Thaddeus Duvall, we'd like to save you 10%. We have a discount code for you. So Seat Time 5 is how you save 10% when you sign up, if you choose to. When you sign up, and you can save 10% off of either your monthly, yearly, bi-yearly, however you want to pay. You just do it that way, save 10%. The more you spend, the more you save. That's kind of how it works. So thank you, Squarespace, for your support of Seat Time. Squarespace.com/Seat Time. Check them out. Discount code Seat Time 5. Touchdown.
That was a good job.
Touchdown. Hey, man, you got to give it up for when it's done being gived up.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So, a little bit of Hare and Hound action before we let you go. Before we talk about some of the stuff coming up before we let you go. So, Kurt Caselli. What do you have to say about him?
Dude's on fire.
Right? Right? Is he
Really
not
on
like
fire.
one of the coolest guys ever as well?
Yeah, I'd say I'm a higher rank than he is, I'd say.
Whoa. Hey, Caselli has sent me a jersey. You haven't.
Dude, I got tons of jerseys.
Dude.
Come on.
Look at this. My little wall here.
I could be like right beside the fly jersey.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
This is my wall of awesome. This isn't like just this is not just paid advertising, if you will.
I understand.
This jersey's older than I am. I know you can't see it because we don't have the greatest thing, but this jersey's older than I am. This is a vintage New Orleans Enduro Association jersey. New Orleans, motherfucker. Do you have any idea how many of these exist? Very little. So, boom. That's what's happening. So, Kurt Caselli is obviously still awesome. We can bring that back. And Ivan Ramirez actually put up quite the fight this past weekend. I really think he wanted to try to beat Caselli. I think he's been trying for a while. And it's good to see, for me anyway, to see him start to, I guess, perform the way that they expected him to. I think that we could say that it's very, very difficult because, as we've talked about with, say, a little bit of the XC2 to XC1 class, there's a learning curve. You really do have to get in there and figure out the system, figure out the different races, and obviously, having not really raced a ton of Hare and Hounds in his career, he's still figuring it out. But I think it's coming together because he really it sounds like he was pushing Caselli or was pulling him the whole time. Caselli finally caught him there towards the last loop and took the win. And then Nick Burson, who we were trying to have on a little bit to talk to, in third place. And I think that's got to be – he's had a couple podiums. That's like the second or third podium. So I think it's pretty good. Have you ever done any kind of Hare and Hound desert racing there, Mr. Thad?
No, but I know them guys are crazy to be doing that.
Right? That bomb run is ridiculous. And that's it. It's like, how far back does the throttle go? That far.
I remember being in Mexico for the Baja 1000 one time, and Destriago was on a KX 500, and he came by us going like 100 mile an hour through like 3 foot deep whoops, never let off, just whoa, like I literally crapped myself. Like I was like, holy cow, crazy.
I don't want to do it. I mean, I do, but I don't.
I respect them guys.
Oh, dude, what they do is crazy. I mean, they go so. I mean, I do a lot of enduro racing, And obviously, we were on a road together at the National
Yeah.
Enduro in Concho in Texas, and it was fun. You crashed out. What happened? I don't even know what happened. You crashed out.
No. Had a fuel pump problem the second test.
Ah,
So
shit.
bumming.
Yeah, I remember
Bum.
coming by and you were kind of like picking yourself and the bike up off the ground. I think it was the third test when that happened.
Yeah, I jammed a rock in my sprocket, so I was trying to get it out, and it was just a bad day.
Yep.
Day.
They all happen. I try to say that about all my racing experiences. It was just a bad day. Oh, but so one day maybe I'll figure out it's the athlete and it's not the bike. But
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know. So I want to do a Hare and Hound. I want to come. I want to race at GNCs. I mean, like, I love riding my motorcycle, and all of this stuff, all these podcasts that I do, it just makes me want to race more. It maybe makes me more afraid because of the fact that we've got guys like Skylar Howes and Toby Price, unfortunately, going down at
Yeah,
those
that's
Hare and
scary.
Hounds a couple weeks ago. But I think we all kind of know that that's what we're getting into. I mean, I'm 6 weeks out today from my shoulder surgery, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to do it. We should figure it
Yeah.
out. We should start a travel the country team where we just do a bunch of cool racing.
Come pick me up. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what every professional racer wants to actually have happen.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff that's going to be coming up, we've got John Pinton, as we were talking about, the first weekend of June. J-Day Off-Road this coming up weekend is going to be round 4 in Baldwinville, Massachusetts. I would love to hear how those guys pronounce that kind of stuff because it's in Boston, Mass. Like,
Yeah, it's
They're-
the whole nother language.
it is. It really is. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's like different from ours to like Cajun.
Yes. You're absolutely right. And then of course we've got round 4
Yeah.
of the OMA coming up this weekend in Fort Smith, Arkansas. So Caleb Russell got his first OMA win Mother's Day weekend at round 3 in Indiana. And be going for another win. Paul Whibley has not seemed, I guess, on par with how dominant he was last year at the OMAs and at the GNCCs. So we'll see. Obviously he's had a wrist injury. They've talked about that a lot. Hopefully he keeps recovering and he keeps getting better and he can kind of get back up there and compete with those guys for the whole race. I know that he did a really good job this past weekend at the GNCC being up front. So what about you,
Yeah.
Thad? Any other stuff coming up this weekend?
He'll get stronger.
What are your Memorial Day plans? You going to go hunting?
No, just a family cookout and riding my dirt bike.
Boom! I look forward to that. I think I'm
Hot
going to have
dogs, hamburgers. I mean, come on, living
Yeah.
the
a
dream.
little bit of Taco Bell. Yes. I'm not going to say I did, but I might. So, are you going to try to do any other international racing this year?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess the better question is, do you want to do some more international racing this year?
yeah, I mean, definitely.
If the opportunity arises.
If the opportunity's there, then let's do it.
All right. So, if anybody out there has not, propositioned Thaddeus Duval about going to the ISDE this year, you should. You should definitely proposition him about it.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I know, we will. It's going to be like trophy team, junior trophy team. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. But
We'll see.
speaking of Memorial Day weekend, we have the ISDE qualifier this coming up weekend in Boise, Idaho. I just thought about that. Last year, I did the 27-hour drive there. That was horrible. It was horrible. It was 110 miles that we raced day 1, 110 miles day 2, and then we drove 27 hours back.
That's a long weekend.
Dude, I
Man.
promise you, never doing it again. That's some of the best riding I've ever done in my entire life. Never am I doing that again. That was ridiculous. Never. We literally went batshit crazy at like 14 hours in, and we stopped in Golden, Colorado, which was about 15 and a half hours in. Dude, that lady who checked us into the hotel thought we were crazy. Like, there was no thinking possible. Like, it was just totally out there. It was hilarious.
That's too far to drive.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was fun, but man, yeah, I'm much gonna rather try to go to Ohio in the future when it's just like a 17-hour drive. I could do that in one day and still feel sane-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I want to give you a chance, obviously, to tell everybody where you are, where people can find you before we start kind of closing up this little episode here.
Find me on Twitter, Thaddy, THADDY989 on Twitter and Instagram. So give me a follow and follow the life, I guess, of me. I mean, I like taking pictures and I like updating my Twitter. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, though, but
Hey,
I have to watch. Hey, I just like to have fun, and, I got to watch what I do, and, that's fine with me. I enjoy what I do, and I want to make this a career, so if that's what it takes, then I'm willing to do it. So give me a follow and see what happens.
yeah, I will publicly solicit myself on Twitter for the world to see.
Oh, yeah.
Daily, baby. Daily. Daily. So before we go ahead and tell you where you can find us and follow us and thank, Thaddeus. I just have to ask, where Thaddeus? That's your first name.
Yeah, that's my first name.
That's wicked. Like,
I don't really like it, though.
what is it? Is it Roman? Like, what is that? I mean, that's like,
I don't know. I have no idea, actually. I know it's in the Bible. That's all I know.
hey, well, it has to be European-ish then, right?
I think it's like a Greek god, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I
You're
better
like,
stop
now
that.
you're just blowing air up your skirt, buddy. Nah, come on. All
better
right,
stop.
so we've been talking to Thaddeus Duval, and he's a fantastic man, I'm not going to lie. But some other fantastic people that we have to say thank you very much for their support of Seat Time is Powersport Graphics. Where can you find them on the internet? At ridepg.com. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter. Actually, Jared Bolton runs all their social media now. So not only can you get in there with that little leprechaun and make fun of him for his little gingerness, but you can hang out and you can have fun with Powersport Graphics online all the time. They're actually really, really cool people to talk to. We get to go in there and we get to chat it up. We get to come to them, all kinds of fun ideas, custom stuff all the time. But obviously, sometimes custom's not the way to go. You are trying to find a way to fit a budget, and I think that this is what's awesome is they have a really good way to do that. So you can save 40% if you go into their designs, and you can choose the ready-to-ship option. It will automatically save you 40% off of the price because of the fact that all the back and forth that goes along with custom graphics, it doesn't apply because you're getting what's right there on the screen. Of course, if you order before 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you get it same-day shipping. And then if you wanted to order anything else off of their website and save 10% off of those purchases, you just use the discount code SEATTIME. So I think that's pretty good, pretty awesome, easy way to do it. And then, of course, this is Seat Time. So where are you going to find Seat Time? SeatTime.co is the website that all of our stuff happens at. Where we archive all the websites where you can find all the links to awesome that go on. If you want to find us on Twitter, we're on twitter.com/seattime_co. If you want to tweet us real hard, just as Thad was talking about, we like to put our life out there. We want you to follow us. We want you to pay attention, see what's going on. And then, of course, what's that last one there?
Facebook.
Did I talk about Facebook?
I don't know.
Man, I'm like screwing this stuff up. Seattime.co is our website. Facebook.com/Seattime's our Facebook. Seattime_CO is our Twitter. Damn it. Steven, why would you let me F this up? You're my boss.
I'm trying to control the camera over here.
That's
too.
true. That's true. I believe that Steven is better than I am at this. That's it. You're doing the next show. Steven is going to be doing the next show. I'm going to produce. It's going to be a fun time. Thaddeus Duval. Thaddy, Bad Thad, you dirty mama jamma. We really appreciate you being on the show and giving us an hour of your time. It has been a fantastic evening, kind sir. What have you thought?
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah?
I
Good.
definitely probably tune in and watch the episodes now for sure.
Yeah. Now that I might be
cool.
on them, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a few, but I have never really got into it. But I'll probably check it out now for sure.
Good. I appreciate it. So you're going to go to seattime.co, watch.
That's
listen,
right.
Get all up in there.
Yes, sir.
Tweet us real hard at seattime_CO.
Dirty.
Dirty. Get in there. All right. Hey, this has been Seat Time. Again, Thad, Really appreciate the time. If nothing else, remember to always enjoy a pint full of awesome. And I guess we'll see you next Tuesday, right, kids? Peace.